Hi, welcome to Elaine Enlightenings's video blog number 30, and today we're on lesson 20 in A Course in Miracles. This is a really important lesson, and it's a pretty big turning point in the Course in Miracle lessons. So far we have not been required to spend a lot of time on the lessons. It hasn't even required that we understand or believe or put really much effort, or especially feel like we're being forced into anything. Anytime we feel like we're being coerced or forced to change the way we look at things, the ego is going to, or you could say the human side, however you want to say it, is going to rise up and rebel, and you'll feel resentment. And so far these lessons have been very gentle, and this whole entire process for the year is actually a very loving, gentle process. It's just that today's lesson is setting a little bit higher standard and asking us to practice twice an hour, preferably once every 30 minutes throughout the day. And it's really just as simple as pausing and saying to yourself, I am determined to see. And it can create a very big shift whenever we really tune into this phrase. We're very reversed in the way we think, because the world sees everything and has turned everything upside down from the way it is in truth. And I'm going to give you a really good example today of a reversal in my own life of something very current, and it'll be a very good teaching example, and I'm also going to tap on that reversal today. So basically this idea is to create some structure, but still do not want to misconstrue it as some sort of effort to exert force or pressure on us. This is what we don't want to focus on. We just want to focus on practicing. And we want to remember that we really do want salvation. We really do want happiness and peace. That may sound kind of silly, but when you read through the Course in Miracles and you get really familiar with how the ego thinks and the difference between false and truth, you really get to see this. And especially with, as you start doing this kind of work that I do with the EFT, in particular the way I've trained with holistic belief reprogramming from Erica Awakening, my mentor. It's been very phenomenal, the shifts that I've had in the past year, just training and learning this process. And we find out that we really are pushing away the happiness and the peace because of the way we think. And it's too much to get into in this lesson, but as you follow along, if you follow along in my video blog, you'll get a pretty good picture of things in the overall picture, because I can't address everything every time. I just want to focus on what the lesson is and whatever's present for me that day, and use it as a teaching example. So the reason we don't have peace and happiness right now is just because our mind is totally undisciplined. And we're not able to distinguish between joy and sorrow, pleasure and pain. And we think we do, and that's what's the problem. So this whole process is about letting go of what we think we know, which we really don't know. Okay? So our decision to see is all that vision requires. It's just a determination. So when we say I'm determined to see, it's just stating to the universe that I really do want to see. Now today I practiced this throughout the day. It's actually late in the day. I've had a pretty big day and a very blessed day, spending it with two of my granddaughters for their birthdays. And I really was able to tune into this lesson several times, and I used it. I applied it at times when I felt some irritation, or like I could feel the energy trying to shift as a result of some old patterns. And as I applied this lesson, and as I said in the last few lessons, I just really started feeling the shift. When I actually practice this throughout the day, I can feel this shift of the energy in my body, and it's really cool. It's like I can just feel this kind of, and I just feel grounded again. So this Course in Miracles has really helped me to get grounded, and in particular HBR. So the exercise in today consists in reminding ourselves throughout the day that we do want to see. Today's idea tacitly implies the recognition that you do not see now. And that's really important to recognize. So as you repeat the idea, you're stating that you're determined to change your present state for a better one, and one you really want. So when you repeat it slowly and positively at least twice an hour. Don't be distressed if you forget to do so, but make a real effort to remember. And any extra repetitions can be applied to any situation as it comes up, like I've mentioned. And what you desire, you will see. Such is the real law of cause and effect as it operates in the world. The law of attraction always, always at work. So what I wanted to share with you is that as I'm preparing for a trip, an extended trip to Bali, I have just paid off all of my trip as of yesterday. And I really noticed the fear trying to present itself again. And I've come to learn that, the ego's going to resist, and that's fine, and I just notice it and I don't worry about it. But I am going to use this as a great example because I am doing something that's very non-linear. It's very non-logical. So we've been taught to be very logical in our society, in this Western culture, and most of us are very logical and head-centric. That's just how we think, and we think that's normal and the way it should be. What we find, though, is that all of that is that's the reverse thinking we're talking about, that is keeping us from having the peace and the joy. And so here I am in a situation which I could tell a lot, there's a lot that I could share on this, but what I will just say is that I'm going on this trip as a spiritual retreat. I'm in a place of new beginnings with my business and in my life, and I felt very guided to go and do this trip. And the ego is raising its head because, in frustration, trying to make me feel guilty, and I do notice the guilt, so I'm going to say that I do have the guilt. I notice the guilt's there, and it's all because it's not a logical path. I've learned that whenever we notice ourselves constricting ourselves when it comes to money, now I'm not talking about being frivolous, I'm just talking about being balanced with our money. And so if we're constricting ourselves in any way regarding money, it's just going to create this energy that we don't want, and we're going to not get good vibes coming back to us in our experience. And so I already know that if I spend the money on what I feel guided to do, this is very intuitive guidance, and I've just put this trip together as a result of that, and knew right away it was to be an extended trip, knew it was to be Bali, knew that yes, the money's there to do it, and at the same time now the ego's saying yes, but that money could have been spent for this or that or the other, could have given it away. It's not a really very logical thing to do, and that's okay. But I'm just noticing the fear coming up, and mostly it's related to guilt. So if you think of anything in your life where you followed intuition and then later wondered if it was a good choice. So anytime we second guess ourselves, it's the ego's probably trying to make us feel guilty about something. And this goes against a lot of where I was raised, right, to be very conservative, and this may seem like a selfish thing because I'm doing it for myself. I've come to know that I need to take care of myself in order for me to be a blessing to others. So I realize that in the big picture, this is what it's all about. But that's not how the ego looks at it. So all this resistance has shown up in the form of fear, and it's just a great example of how I'm determined to see things in a new light now, and we're just going to have this dance of back and forth sometimes. Whenever we're moving forward, it's going to feel like we're getting pulled back. But as long as we just recognize that we're still moving forward, and we're not going to let this stuff we're not going to let this fear run our lives or keep us from going forward, then we'll be fine. Now, I had an amazing miracle already after my year of training. I received, really in a very miraculous way, all the money that I'd spent was reclaimed to me, but in a non-linear fashion. I didn't work for it. It didn't come through my business per se. It showed up. I got that story on my blog about that and so you could read about it there. The thing is that, and it's my epic money miracle. That's what it's called at taplightunlimited.com. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap on this guilt, and you can tune into whatever might be present for you, or some memory that you might have of a situation like that. Okay? We're just going to take a deep breath and go on karate chop. You're welcome to tap along with me. This is a very wonderful thing to do. We're going to tap on this reversal. Okay? Even though I'm very reversed in a lot of my thinking regarding going on a trip to Bali, I notice the guilt is coming up. It feels like a really selfish thing to do. That money would have lasted a long time if I had just stored it away, or if I had just let it grow and then just used it to live on. I've already had wonderful money miracles since learning this process, but there's a part of me that's still afraid that maybe I made a wrong choice. I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Let's go to the top of the head. Even though I'm kind of scared now, what if this money doesn't show up for me? What if I grow broke? What if I have to sell a lot of the things that I have? Won't people look down on me? Won't I feel bad about myself? I'm worrying about a lot of things that haven't happened yet. And a part of me knows this is pointless. It's insanity. But another part of me doesn't know how to let go of the fear. I'm so reversed about it that I don't want to let it go. I'm not sure that I want to acknowledge fully and completely this fear. A part of me thinks that the world is where I find my safety. I have to build up a nest egg so I can feel safe. The nest egg I used to have seems to be gone. And even though I did receive a big money miracle, there's a part of me that's resisting, trusting the process. I choose to be more powerful starting right now. I am determined to see. I am determined to see. I ask God and the angels to assist me to see this situation in a whole new light. I followed my intuition from the beginning, and a part of me is glad I did, but I'm noticing I have this inner conflict. and a deep reversal. My parents never did anything like this, especially while they were still raising their children. I want to trust this process and let go of the guilt and the fear fully and completely, so that I might find peace again and be able to trust this process. I am determined to see. I'm willing to ask for my miracle. Let miracles replace all grievances. And remember, there's no security to be found at all in this world. And I no longer desire to go from illusion to illusion, seeking for answers. Where there is none. Help me to see that the problem and the solution are one and the same. I trust my miracle. I trust this process. I am determined to see. I am determined to see. Just repeat these 4 phrases. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Decide for God for me. Take a deep breath and see how that feels. I'm still noticing some anxiety a little bit around the heart chakra. I do feel more grounded though than I did when I first started tapping on that, because I could really feel the fear coming around even more as I addressed it. So I'm really glad that I could share this with you today. Continue practicing. I am determined to see. It's a very powerful shift that can happen as you start addressing and admitting that we do not see. And so we are determined, because we really do want everything that is our inheritance by God. And I'm excited to see what happens with my money miracle. I know that I will have it. I know it will come. I've been always blessed this way anyway. And now with my business, I've already seen it happening. And I'm trusting that this process will continue to be a blessing to all. So I bless you. Elaine Enlightening at taplightunlimited.com. Bye-bye.